For this project, you'll need a weight 1 superfine yarn, a 2.75mm crochet hook, a pair of scissors, and also a ruler. So before we get started, we are going to need to know 3 measurements. Our first is measurement A, which is going to be from one side of your shoulder to the other, and that is going to be the total width of your top. For me, I actually did from one armpit to the other, and that was 13 inches for me. Now for measurement B, we are going to figure out what the width of this middle panel is going to be. And to do that, we're going to take whatever your measurement A was. For me, that was 13 inches, and then you're going to subtract 4. And the reason we're subtracting 4 inches from it is because each of these little side panels right here are going to be 2 inches wide. And then for measurement C, we're just going to figure out how long we want our top to be. So from your collarbone all the way down to the very bottom of your top, that is going to be measurement C. And for me, that was 13 inches. Okay, now that that is out of the way, let's get started. So to start off our middle panel, you want to take whatever your measurement B is, and you want to create a chain that's long enough to stretch to that measurement. Now we're also going to be creating a granny stitch, so you need to make sure that this chain is in multiples of 3 plus 2 at the end. So for me, I'm going to chain up 50, and that's going to be 48, which is my multiple of 3 plus 2 at the end. Okay, so I just finished my chain, and now what I'm going to do is check it against a ruler. So again, we are stretching our chain, and as you can see, it's just a little bit below 9 inches, which is perfectly fine. It's better for your chain to stretch to be a little bit less than your measurement B, rather than a little bit more. So now that we have that out of the way, let's move on to row 1. Okay, so for row 1, what we're going to be doing is just a single crochet in each stitch all the way down. So first we are going to skip this chain right here, our very first chain on our hook, and we're going to go into the second one right here. So we're going to insert, yarn over, pull through just that first loop. Now we have 2 loops on your hook, so we are going to yarn over and pull through both. And that's how you do a single crochet. So we're going to do this in each stitch all the way down. So we'll go right into the next one and single crochet. Okay, so in each stitch, just place 1 single crochet, and I will meet you guys at the other end. Okay, so we just finished that first row. So now we're going to move on to our second row, which is going to start the granny stitch. So first we are going to chain up 2 and then flip our work. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is make a double crochet in that very first stitch. So we will yarn over, insert, then you want to yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. Okay, so we now have 2 stitches in that very first stitch, and that chain 2 is also going to count as our stitch. Okay, so 1, 2. Now what we're going to do is skip the next 2 stitches and go into that third stitch with 3 double crochets. So I'm going to yarn over, insert into that third stitch, make 1, all right, back into that same stitch, 2, and then 3. Okay, so now what we're going to do is skip the next 2 stitches and then again go into that third stitch with 3 double crochets. And this is going to be our pattern all the way down. So once you get to that very last stitch, come on back and I'll show you how to finish up the row. Okay, so as you see, we have 3 stitches left, and in this very last stitch, we are only going to be placing 2 double crochets to match the beginning of this row. So 1, and then right back in that same stitch, 2. Okay, and that's going to be the repeating pattern for row 2. So now let's move on to row 3. So we're going to chain up 2 and then flip our work. Alright, so this first chain 2 is also going to count as a stitch. And now what we're going to do is place 3 double crochets in each one of these spaces all the way down. Alright, so we'll yarn over, insert into that first space, 1, 2, and 3, And then we're going to be continuing to do this all the way down. Okay, so we're going to go into that very last space with 3 double crochets like we've been doing. And 3. And now what we're going to want to do is place 1 double crochet in this chain 2 space at the very beginning. I know it's a little bit difficult to see. All right. Okay, and then there is our last double crochet for row 3. So now what we're going to want to do for row 4 is chain up 2, flip your work, and now you're going to want to make 1 double crochet in this very first stitch right here. So we'll yarn over, insert into that first stitch. Okay, and now we're going to be placing 3 double crochets in each of these spaces right here. Again, just like we've been doing. So 1, 2, 3, and we're going to do this all the way down row 4. Okay, and then at the very end of this row, as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3 double crochets and then this chain 2. So what we're going to do is yarn over, and we're going to insert in between this very last stitch and this chain 2 space right here. Okay, so we're going to insert right into that space, and we're going to be creating 2 double crochets. So 1 and 2. Okay, and that's the end of row 4. So what we're going to be doing for the rest of this middle panel is just repeating rows 3 and 4 all the way until you reach your measurement C. So I'll just show you guys how to start off row 5 really quick. So we'll chain up 2, and again we're repeating row 3. So what we're going to do is create we're going to be creating 3 double crochets in this very first space. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so once I am completely done with this middle panel, we will come on back and I will show you guys how to just finish it up. Alright, so I've just finished my middle panel and I have now reached my measurement C, which is going to be 13 inches long. So once you reach your measurement C, what you're going to want to do is simply chain up 1 at the very end. Alright, and as you can see, my yarn's already cut, but you're going to want to cut your yarn, leave a little bit of a tail, and then just simply pull it right through and then pull tight. Okay, so now you are finished with your first panel. So all you're going to want to do is repeat all the steps we just did for your second panel. So once you're done with that, come on back and I'll show you how to attach them together. Okay, so you should now be done with both of your panels. One will be for the front of your top and one will be for the back, but it doesn't really matter which is which. Now what we're going to be doing is working on the side portions. So you're going to want to take whichever panel you were just working on, and you're going to want to flip it lengthwise like this. And we're going to be working down the length of the panel rather than the width because these are the sides of our top. So I'll give you a brief overview of what we are going to be working on next. We are just going to be making 2 half double crochets in each double crochet space all the way down the length of this panel, and then we will take our second panel, also turning it lengthwise, and we are going to be making a foundation half double crochet chain in between the two to connect both together, and this will be where our shoulder portion is. And then after that, we will be making 2 half double crochets in each double crochet space all the way down the second panel as well. All right, so let me bring you guys closer in and we will get started on that. So as you can see, I actually didn't fasten off on this panel, but if you did fasten off, all you're going to want to do to reattach your yarn is go into this double crochet space right here and just make a knot. And all we're going to do now is chain up 2. So whether you fastened off or you didn't, you're still just going to chain up 2. So now we're going to be making 2 half double crochets in each of our double crochet spaces all the way down. So as you can see, here's our first double crochet space. This chain 2 is going to count as a stitch, so we're just going to be making 1 half double crochet in this first space. So what I'm going to do is yarn over, insert, yarn over and pull through, and with 3 loops on your hook, you're going to want to yarn over and pull through all 3 to do a half double crochet. Alright, so there we go. Now we're going to move on to our next space right here, and we're going to be making 2 half double crochets in this next double crochet space. So I'm going to insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. That's 1. Then I'm going to yarn over. That's 2, and we are not going to pay attention to these little tails right here. I had to reconnect my yarn. Okay, so now we are moving on to this third double crochet space, and as you can see, it actually kind of looks like it's 2 spaces. So there's 1 little space right here and 1 slightly bigger space. With these, I like to make 1 half double crochet in the smaller space and 1 half double crochet in the larger space. So I'm going to yarn over, insert into that little smaller gap right there, yarn over, pull through all 3. Alright, so we have our first half double crochet, and then I'll go into that second space right there. And that's 2. And we're just going to continue making 2 half double crochets in each of our double crochet spaces until we reach the very end. Alright, so at the very end of this row, we come up on our very first row of single crochets here. So in this very last stitch, we're actually going to be making a foundation half double crochet rather than a normal half double crochet. And to do this, we're going to yarn over, insert into that single crochet space, yarn over, pull through, and then with 3 loops on your hook, you want to yarn over and pull through only the first loop. There we are. And then with 3 loops on your hook, you want to yarn over and pull through all 3. Alright, and that's a foundation half double crochet. And the reason we did that is because we are going to start working on the shoulder strap portion that's going to connect panel 1 to panel 2. And that's just going to be 1 row of foundation half double crochets in between the 2. For me, I'm going to make this foundation half double crochet row 2 inches long, and the reason I did that was just through experimentation. The longer you make this row right here, the lower your neckline is going to be, and the shorter you make this, the higher your neckline is going to be. So I just suggest experimenting to see what you prefer. Alright, so let's get started with that row of foundation half double crochets. Alright, so this was our first foundation half double crochet stitch right here. So to continue, what we're going to do is focus, there we go, is yarn over, and then we're going to insert into this very bottom stitch right here, okay? It's a little difficult to see, but it's right here. Right here. And you want to make sure that you pick up both the front loop and the back loop, so it looks kind of like a little V. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through that stitch. Alright, and then we have 3 loops on our hook. So now what we're going to want to do is yarn over and pull through just that first loop. Okay, we have 3 loops on our hook yet again, so we're going to want to yarn over and pull through all 3. Beautiful. And that's going to be our second foundation half double crochet. So let me show you guys one more time. So again, this is going to be the bottom stitch right here, which is where we are going to insert our hook. And I know it's a little bit difficult to see if you're a beginner, but we're going to yarn over, insert into that bottom stitch right there. Make sure you're picking up both the top and the back loops. Okay, and you want to yarn over and pull through. Then with 3 loops on your hook, you yarn over and pull through the very first stitch. 3 loops on your hook again, you yarn over and pull through all 3. Okay, and that's going to be making this foundation half double crochet row right here. So what you want to do is continue doing this until you reach, whatever measurement you want for how long your shoulder strap is going to be. And again, I would just experiment and see what you prefer. All right, so once I finish that, we will come back and I'll show you how to attach the two panels. Once you're done with your foundation half double crochet row, we're going to want to connect this to our second panel. So to connect, you want to make sure that you are connecting to your single crochet row right here, okay? So we're not connecting to that double crochet granny stitch row, but rather the very first row of single crochets that we did. And that's just to make our neckline look a little bit neater. So to do this, what I'm going to do is yarn over and insert into the bottom stitch like we've been doing. Okay, and now we want to pick up our second panel and insert our hook into the very last single crochet stitch. So we'll just insert that there. We'll pick up our yarn again, and we are now going to yarn over and pull through both the single crochet space as well as the foundation half double crochet space. All right, so now you should have 3 loops on your hook. So we'll just yarn over and pull through all 3 like a normal half double crochet. All right, and there we have it. Now it's connected. Now, I don't know if this is actually the correct way to do this. I don't know if there is a correct way to do this, but it's the way I'm doing it. So if you can think of a better way to connect these two, then by all means do that. So now what we're gonna do is just the exact same thing we did on this panel. So 2 half double crochets in each double crochet space. So I'm just going to yarn over and go right into that very first double crochet space. Make 1 and 2. Okay, and we're just going to continue doing this all the way down. Okay, so we're totally done with that first row there, and we're moving on to the second row. So first we're going to chain up 2. And then flip our work. And for the sides, we're going to be doing the same kind of granny stitch that we did on these middle panels. Only the second row here is going to vary just slightly. So what we're going to do is place 1 double crochet into that very first stitch. Okay, right in here. And our chain 2 is going to count as a stitch. So essentially we have 2 stitches in that very first stitch. Then instead of skipping 2 stitches and going into the third with 3 double crochets, we're going to skip 3 stitches and go into the 4th stitch with 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, insert 1, back into the same stitch, 2, and 3. All right, we're going to skip 3. 1, 2, 3, and 3 double crochets into that 4th stitch. Oops. 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to continue doing this all the way down the length of our top right here. Alright, so once you come up to the very end of this row, you may notice that you have either too few or too many stitches left to go, and that's just because in the previous half double crochet row we weren't counting our stitches. So it's not really going to matter, just however many you have left, you're going to want to make 2 double crochets in that very last stitch. So for me, I actually have 5 stitches left, so I'm technically skipping 4 stitches right here. So 1 and 2. Alright, and so now we have finally completed row 2. I'd also like to point out that in the middle portion right here, we also did the exact same thing. We were just skipping 3 in between that foundation half double crochet row as well. So now what we're going to do is just continue on with our granny stitch. So we'll chain up 2, flip our work, and now this is going to work just like our middle panel. So what we'll do is make 3 double crochets in each of these spaces right here. So 1, 2, and 3. And remember that chain 2 that we made at the very beginning is going to count as a stitch. And just all the way down, we're going to be making 3 double crochets in each of these spaces. Alright, and then at the very last stitch, we're just going to place 1 double crochet. This is exactly the same pattern that we are doing, in the middle panel as well, but I will show you what row 4 is going to look like. So after that, we're going to chain up 2, flip our work, and now we're going to place 1 double crochet in that very first stitch, and our chain 2 again is going to count as a stitch. So essentially there's 2 double crochets in that first stitch. Then we are going to move on to the first space and make 3 double crochets in that space and continue doing that same pattern all the way down this row. So at the end here, the last thing we want to do is make 2 double crochets in that very last space between the 3rd stitch and the very last stitch. So we'll yarn over, make 1 and 2. Okay, so now we're going to repeat rows 3 and 4 until we have 6 granny stitch rows in total. So as you can see, I have 1, 2, 3 rows already done, so I'm just going to be making 3 more. And by the time we're done with that, this side portion should be 2 inches long. Okay, so I just finished doing the 6 rows of granny stitches. So as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if you measure this plus that half double crochet row, it should equal just about 2 inches. So if you would like to have more of a side or sleeve, then just add more. And if you'd like to have less, then just add less. So now all we are going to do is finish off this side. And we're just simply going to chain up 1, grab our scissors, cut with a little bit of a tail at the end, and then just pull right through. So now that we have this whole side done, we're going to repeat all of these steps on the opposite side. So all we're going to do is flip it around like this, and then we're going to take that right hand corner right here. I'm just going to insert my hook right into that space right here, and then you're going to grab your yarn. Okay, we are just going to pull this right through that space, and then what I like to do is just tie a knot, and you can double knot it to make it extra secure. But then you'll just reinsert your hook, chain up 2, and repeat all the steps that we did on the previous side. So once you're completely done with your second side, come on back and we will finish up this top. Now that we are done with both sides, we're going to move on to creating the border all the way around our top. So to create the border, what we're going to do is start where we left off, and if you happen to fasten off on this side, just simply reconnect your yarn by whatever means you prefer. So what we're going to do first is chain up 1, and then we're going to be placing 1 single crochet all the way around this top. So as you can see, we have double crochet spaces right here. So for the double crochet spaces, we'll place 2 single crochets in each space. And then for these granny stitch rows, we are just going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch. So we'll start off 2 single crochets in the first double crochet space. So 1 and 2, and then just continue doing this all the way down. Okay, and once we reach the granny stitch row, we're just going to be placing 1 single crochet into each stitch. So all right, and once we've hit that other side of the double crochet spaces, we're going to do the same thing. 2 single crochets in each double crochet space. All right, and now that we've reached the very end of this bottom row right here, we're going to start making the straps. So we're making 1 strap on each corner of the border of the top. So to do this, all we're going to do from right here is chain up. I'm going to chain 70, but chain up however many you like. You're going to be tying the front side to the back side. So again, I'm going to chain up 70. Okay, 70. So now what we're going to do is go back on this chain with a single crochet in each chain space. So what we're going to do is go into that second chain from the hook right there and just make a single crochet. All right, and we are just placing 1 single crochet in each chain space all the way down. So once you come up to the very end of your chain, what you're going to want to do is insert your hook into that single crochet stitch right here, so right into the corner, and then we're just going to make a single crochet. All right, and that's going to connect our little strap to the rest of our top. So now we are onto the side right here, and all the way down we're just going to be placing 1 single crochet in each stitch. All right, and then once you're done with this side, you're going to make a strap. Again, just chain up the same amount of chains you did for your other strap. All right, and then we're going to go back on this with a single crochet in each chain. Okay, and then we're going to attach this one just in the double crochet space right here. So we're just going to insert into that space and make a single crochet like we did last time. All right, and then I'll just make 1 more single crochet because we are now back at those double crochet spaces. So again, you're making 2 single crochets in each double crochet space. When you get to the granny stitches, you're making 1 single crochet in each stitch. And then you're just going to repeat what we've done all the way around the top until we get back to our starting point. So I will meet you guys right back at the starting point and show you how to finish off. Okay, so I've gone all the way around the top and now I'm back at the very beginning where we started our single crochet border. So as you can see, yep, there it is. So what we'll do for the very last strap is chain up however many it is that you've been chaining, and then making 1 single crochet in each chain. And once you're back at the end, what we're going to do is slip stitch into the very first single crochet stitch right here, okay? So we'll insert, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through the loop on your hook. Okay, so then you're going to chain 1, get your scissors, cut your yarn, which I already did, and then you're just going to want to pull through to finish off that border. All right, and we are officially done with the top.